expeditiously as possible. The problem is, of course, that we've got to do that in a prudent fashion, and he recognizes that too. That's why he's parsed it out. A little bit of deposition now, and we'll finish it later on once we get the documents. Reality is there are documents out there, and the documents are important, and we need to do our homework before we go into the deposition so that the questions are clear and the answers are clear, and we get the evidence we need to supply to the jury.
So how critical is it to hear from Sugarland?
I'm sorry?
How critical do you see hearing from Ms. Nettles and Mr. Bush?
Well, certainly there's a lot of fault to go around in this case. However, having said that, Ms. Nettles and Mr. Bush are at the top of the decision tree. They had the opportunity to postpone this event and chose not to. We need to know why and whether that's a legitimate reason. From what the state has said, it doesn't appear to be legitimate. We'll find out.
Mid-America made it seem like they've had a hard time dealing with Sugarland, getting things scheduled. What has your experience been?
Well, litigation is difficult, and frankly, it's not untoward to hit a brick wall now and again. So difficult for one person is just par for the course for another. I think, frankly, that we're moving the case along. I'm pleased with Judge Sosin, who's, I think, a brilliant man, and he's going to do a good job in getting the case pushed forward and getting a just result.
Was your position a surprise today that you were one saying, no, you don't think this needed to happen next week because of this date that they had put out about April 17th?
Well, having been in this trade for 30 years, I'm not so sanguine as to believe that we're going to get this case settled right away, at least before all of the facts are discovered. I mean, the whole idea is, just like you doing your job, you got to find out what the facts are. And once we get all the facts on the table, then we'll be able to allocate the fault appropriately. However, it is clear, one thing is clear. If, in fact, this concert had been postponed to 10 o'clock or 10:15, we wouldn't be talking today.
The judge mentioned that he has 3 years left in this courtroom. Do you believe so that this case will be resolved before this judge leaves this bench?
We have proposed a case management plan that would get this case tried within a year. And I think that's very doable. I think it's going to take a lot of energy, a lot of work, but I think it's doable, and I think at that juncture we'll be satisfied with this case done in 1 year.
What's going to happen at this April 17th meeting? Is it really just the beginning of the settlement talks?
I believe it's a long road to get this case concluded. And as I said, I'm not so sanguine as to believe that the road is going to end on April 17th. There are a number of defendants here, some of whom believe that they have no fault. The facts will tell us. However, we know one thing for certain. Had this concert been postponed by a day or even by 3 hours, we wouldn't be here today.
What message do you want to send out to the victims? More than 58 received some sort of state monies, 31 did not. But what do you want folks that are watching what has become a media circus?
Well, the reality is this was a very foreseeable, very preventable, very predictable event. And unless entities who are in charge, who make decisions about public safety, are held to account, unless they're held to account, then this will occur again and again. Next year or a year after, another state fair, either Indiana or elsewhere. So we need to make sure that the message is sent very clearly to the defendants that you've got to take your responsibility seriously. Your responsibility to put on a show, sure, but to put on a safe show. Make sure that your patrons are safe and kept in a reasonable position.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
All right.